I'm going to pick back up with part of the Higher Expectations campaign for M-State students. That was a campaign that derived out of a survey done for the faculty, with the faculty at the college, to find out what are the top things they want students that are in their courses to understand as they're enrolling in the college and going through a variety of programs. The fourth in the expectations that came out of that survey is that they want students to be proactive and ask questions. And I know from my office I see a lot of situations where the student will submit an appeal, and typically what happens is the student has waited until, to use a phrase, the wheels have fallen off the wagon to ask questions, and in some cases it's too late to put things back together and to help them continue on in that semester. We've had situations where students would have been more proactive at the beginning when things started to get a little rocky, ask questions of the faculty or other student services folks that potentially could have been able to successfully complete that semester or that course, depending on what the situation is, and not have dug a hole so deep that it will take longer to get out of. Sometimes it's denial that puts a student there. They don't really believe that that's happening because it's never happened to them before. Sometimes it's just simply being overwhelmed by all that they're trying to manage. We typically see it happen a lot with first year students who've been out of college or out of high school for a while and have come back to the school or to us for the first time and are undertaking an educational program, but really haven't prepared psychologically for all of the time commitments for that. And there are just some cases where students have just sort of ignored the reality of the situation until they get the letter from the college that says, oh, by the way, you haven't attended any of your classes for a number of times, so you've been FW'd by your faculty, which means an administrative withdrawal because of lack of attendance, which is a federal financial aid guideline that we have to follow, which then triggers financial aid to recapture some of the aid that you were awarded, which then gives you a bill. And so that sometimes has made sense. That's when they realize that they need to get help. And at that point, there's really not anything we can do, but what we can do is, at that point, what we try to do is look for solutions to minimize the damage, to figure out a plan to get you out of the hole that you've dug, and to move forward. So one of the things that faculty indicated is that they want students to be proactive and ask questions sooner, whether it's about the course material, if they're not understanding it, whether it's in the class, out of the classroom, during office time. They want students to be more proactive, ask the questions, get the information that you need to keep you on the right track and to be successful. The fifth expectation is learn what resources are available to help you succeed. If you are an individual who had learning services or disability service accommodations in high school, many of those same accommodations can be accessed at college. The difference is at the high school level, you may have received documentation for the disability or the learning disability that was provided to the high school, and the high school just enacted services for you, made sure the faculty that you had know you needed this accommodation, and so it was put into place for you. At the college level, the student has to initiate that. The student has to request it. You still have to supply documentation. A plan still has to be created, and then disability services and learning services will work with the faculty to make sure that all of the reasonable accommodations that you require or that are available to you are put into place. We use the word reasonable because that's the term that the federal guideline uses. In some cases, there are accommodations that a student might need that the college simply is unable to provide. And what we try to do there is work with the student to find a solution that is reasonable and does meet the student's needs, as well as is available for the college to be able to provide. In my 8 years at this institution, there's only been one situation where we had to really search and find a solution with the students' assistance to make sure that we could provide them with the resources they need. We have pretty good resources on campus, and we have a number of students that access those resources. It goes up every semester. So there are a lot of students taking advantage of that. But it is up to the student to know. Outside of disability and or learning services, the resources that are available really expands to everything. It's faculty office hours, knowing when to find your faculty, where to find your faculty, taking advantage of charging your books at the bookstore, taking advantage of in to see your academic advisor earlier in the semester rather than later in the semester. We're one of the only colleges in the state of Minnesota that has the registration window for the following term open 14 days after the current term add drop period ends. So when add drop ends for spring semester, our summer and fall schedules will be available for students to register 14 days after that. So students really can, if you're somebody who's trying to juggle a lot of life events and requirements or obligations, you have the ability to pick your schedule in January or early February for the following August, so that you can really get the courses that you need, especially when you're looking at the gen ed courses, that there's a variety of them offered at a variety of times. You have the best pick of the faculty that you're looking for, the course that you're looking for if you register early. Many colleges and universities don't open that registration window until about a month before the current term is going to end, and then it's sort of a mad dash. And we're trying to space that out to give students more time, to be more thoughtful, to make it easier for the academic advisors, to give the students more time to make that plan, put the plan together, and obviously they will have more time at the beginning of the semester than they will at the end, because many students we found still wait. We have a lot of students say, well, I can't think about registering for spring semester until I see snow on the ground. Some years, I'm not a fan of snow, so I never need to see snow on the ground. However, if you wait till snow on the ground, that could be December. That could be I don't want to say too late because it's never really too late, but that could be restrictive. You may not get the classes you want at the times that you want from the faculty that you want, and you may not get the time that you need from your academic advisor because they're going to be booked up more at the end of the semester than they are at the beginning. The other really critical piece that faculty highlighted is that a lot of students don't seem to understand deadlines, whether it's related to their course, whether it's related to assignments, and we've encouraged faculty to really be clear about in their syllabus what deadlines mean. So the whole expectation is know the deadlines and the consequences of not meeting them. Part of that for faculty is some faculty will accept late work, but they dock you a certain number of points or letter grades. Some faculty don't accept late work at all. We've asked faculty to describe, tell in your syllabus, tell the student what late is. When you have homework due, is it due at the beginning of the class period, or by the end of that class period, or by the end of that day? Define what late is so the student really does understand. The difficult part is if you have 5 faculty, you have 5 different definitions of what late might mean, so it's your responsibility to manage that. And that can be somewhat overwhelming, and that's why we've asked faculty to be clear to make sure that if you've got 2 different faculty and both of them say they don't accept late work, but one allows you to hand it in as long as it's any time on the Tuesday that it's due before their office hours are done or something like that, and the other faculty member says no, it's at the beginning of class period, that you really have a clear picture of what the expectation is that you need to meet. Other deadlines that are out there are obviously the add drop period at the beginning of the semester. The add drop window closes on the Friday night of the first week of the semester at 11:59:59. It is an automatic shutoff that happens, and so if you wait until Saturday to go in and drop that class, or you wait until Monday to go in and drop that class, or you just forgot, you still will have to pay for that class because you didn't drop it in time. Unless there's some outstanding reason why you got into a car accident on the way home from school that day and ended up in the hospital and were unconscious, we can probably work with you in that situation, but you're going to have to provide documentation that indicates why you missed that deadline. There are always opportunities, but you have to provide the documentation.